Happy New Day, CSA. How feels each and every one of you this wonderful, lovely new day? Why, have you not had breakfast this morning? How feels wonderful, beautiful, handsome, enlightened, and fantastically prosperous and healthy you this wonderful, lovely new day? Well, namaste, and I welcome all of you to today's lesson sermon. I'm sitting in for the Reverend who was supposed to deliver the lesson sermon today. Something happened, he's not in town, and so I had to fill in. When Derek read the inspiration, he gave us a passage from Paramahansa Yoganandaji's writings. He said, read a little, meditate more, and think about God or think of God all the time. It also reminds me of a story that my guru, Roy Eugene Davis, told us severally when I was in training at CSA headquarters, Lakeland, Georgia. He said, a professor from one of the biggest universities in the US went to India to understudy a guru. And before he left his guru, he asked him, he said, Sir, can you summarize your teaching for me? And the guru looked at him and he said, love people, serve people, remember God always. Love people, serve people, and remember God always. See, this summary seems very simple, but in practice, you find out that it takes your whole life to do that. Let us look at love people. People, it's like you have to love the whole world. And there may be people who do not understand you, people who may hate you for no reason, people who may despise you, who may envy you, and you are supposed to love all of them. What kind of injunction is that? To love everyone. It was shared that one person went to a Zen teacher and said to him, Sir, I want blessings. And the Zen master told him, well, then you must be able to pray for everyone. And he said, oh, no, I want to tell you some people that must not be prayed for. And he said, then you don't want any blessing. You see, what we must realize is that the whole universe that we see is ourselves pushed out. Because there is no one in this world but you. If you know who you really, really, or what you really, really are. And those you call your enemies are coming to teach you a lesson. And those who love you are reminding you of yourself. That is why the Master Jesus said, love your enemies. Pray for those who curse you. Do good to them that hate you. And pray for those who despitefully use you and persecute you, that ye may be children of your heavenly Father. You see, God has become all of us. We say that God is omnipresent. And will He be present everywhere without being in other places and in other hearts? The Bhagavad Gita says that God dwells in all hearts. And so if God dwells in all hearts, then when we look at our world, including the trees and the animals, everyone, we must see that God is hiding in everything that we see. You know, if you have a business, I will take what I do during the week for an example. People come to me during the week and they are all looking for healing. And when they come, I pause. Anyone that comes to me, I pause in prayer and I say, Lord, you have come as this person. Please manifest your healing presence in the body before me. And by the time I will finish with the person will be healed. If you have a shop or whatever you do that you have to interact with people, when they come, first acknowledge the presence of God in them. For scripture tells us, acknowledge Him in all your ways, and He shall direct your paths. Sometimes some people come and you think they are difficult, but they are rather calling for something in you which you have not really looked at. They are maybe calling your attention to examine them the more. Sometimes they are calling in you to empathize with them. So it is not everyone who comes to give you maybe a hard time that you need to get angry with and insult and send them away. No. I've had people who swore that, they will end my life at a point in time. And they came to me sick. And, before they came to me, people around them said, well, this is a man who can heal you. He said, but I don't want to go to him. And then they said, then you don't want to get well. So finally, it took him about 2 weeks. He came and they had really messed him up because he had gone to South Africa and other places. When he came, what we do, Namaste, I had already recognized the presence of God in him. And I knew that he wanted closure. So I welcomed him without any sign of enviness or anger or retribution. I served him, and he said, oh, if I had known, I would have come to you a long time ago. Because I had this problem a long time ago. I've been to South Africa and here and there. He even moved to live in South Africa. But I had removed any trace of hatred in my heart long ago. And he has now become a close friend. You never know. Like Jesus gave the parable of the man who was hurt and beaten by some people and was left to die. A pastor came, he said he was too clean to, touch a wounded person. He didn't want to soil his clothes. This man came, found an excuse. And then a Samaritan who was supposed to be the person's enemy came, put him on his horse, took him and, had him taken care of. We are not too good for anything. And because of that, we will move to the second principle: serve people. You see, like after um, the inspirational talk has ended, I was to talk to you today about the keeping of our bathrooms here at CSA, and to let you know that we must keep the place clean and help with the maintenance. But that is not a public thing, so I will not talk about that now. I will talk about it. But you see, if we think that we are in this world to be served and not to serve, I will tell you something. Have you heard this Akan word or Akan sentence, sumnyame? Or when you are going to church, you say, Meko sumnyame. But to sum is to serve, you know? And when you get into the temple, do you see God as a man sitting on the altar, telling you, Mini sumi? You serve God through man. And when you serve God, when you recognize the presence of God in the people you serve, you have a good response. Because God will reveal himself through the people that you are serving. And even if you do not see the revelation of God in them, still know that the presence of God is in them. And give them your highest service. One time, another time, Healthworks was at Kaneshi. I was there, we had closed, but every time we close, I go to take a shower before leaving. So all the staff had gone and I was in the bathroom and I had a knock on the door. So I quickly used a towel to wipe my body and to go to the front door. I opened and there was this man there. He said to me, I want your boss. That's exactly what he said. And I said, oh, my boss is not here right now, but I can serve you. And he came in, I served him so well that the money he paid, there was some balance left. And he told me, you can keep the change. And I smiled. And then I went into my office. I said, please, can you come in, sir? He came in, he sat down. I said, yes, may I listen to you? He said, are you the boss? I said, you said you want my boss. And I have no boss. So I told you the truth that, my boss is not here. Because the one I would consider my boss was then in the US. He was so shocked. But that is me. You come to help us, you think that I'm one of the workers. You see, it comes from learning to serve people, comes from humility. If you know how to be humble, you can serve everyone from the poorest man to the president. And by the grace of God, I've done that. I've served past presidents, even during the Liberian War. Before they had um, elections to elect a new president. The then president was sick and he came to Ghana. And through the arrangement of some Liberians who were friends, he was introduced to me. I served him. And when he was leaving, he got well. And when he was leaving, he said, "Oh, I want to buy medicine for my mother. I want to buy medicine for my sister. I want to buy medicine for this friend." He almost took all the medicines that we had, but I served him. He was so pleased. He asked me, "Will you come to Liberia to open a branch of your clinic?" I said, "Well, if I can find someone like me to head it, I will open it." It's not open yet because I've not found someone with the same skills to go there and do the work. You must be so serviceful, but you must learn to serve yourself first. See, if you do not know yourself, it will be very, very hard to know others. If you do not love yourself, it will be very, very hard to love others. And so, learn to serve yourself and extend that service also to others. And that brings us to the third leg. Remember God always. You see, the Master Jesus said, "Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy mind, with all thy strength, and then with all your soul." You see, when you awaken to the presence of God, you will not behold the presence of God outside of you, you will behold the presence of God in you. And when you behold the presence of God in you, if you are humble, you know that God will not reside in you without being in others. And so you see the whole vision of God in you, around you, and everywhere present. I traveled with Reverend Isaac Eshon to India. We were to travel with the richest Indian in Ghana then. And at the last minute, he pulled out. The man from India pulled out. We went to Mumbai, and as we got to the airport, we found out that we didn't even know where to go and sleep. So we had to arrange to go to a hotel. Now we saw a hotel advertised at the airport, and when we called them, they brought their bus, took us there, and we found telephones to call the professor I was going to and others. The next day, we had to go on a train to Delhi. When we got to the train station, there was a very long queue, and everyone was rushing to get a ticket. I was in the queue when this young man walked up to me. He said, "Sir, you want a ticket?" I said, "Yes." And then he said, "You come." At first, I thought he was a tout. I've lived in Accra long not to part with money to a tout. He said, "Can I have a passport?" I said, "I want to hold my passport, but I will go anywhere with you." And he took me to an office. He spoke to the gentleman, and the gentleman asked me, "Can I see your passport?" I gave the passport. I said, we are two people. And I came and called Isaac. We got a ticket and we hopped on the train. 24 hours, Isaac. 24 hours from Mumbai to Delhi. When we got to Delhi, we are sat down, we are rested, but when we got up, we found that we were tired and we had luggage. And some people came, and they took our luggage. And as we talked to them, they said, "Oh, we can get you someone to take you to Hardwar." And they led us to one man called Jivan Singh. Jivan became like a brother to us. In fact, he took us to so many places in Delhi. You know, the places he took us to Delhi, we can recognize those places now. We got some souvenirs, some of the best souvenirs, and he took us to a shop to buy some kurta and pajama. And, I bought a blue jean kurta, which is the best kurta that I've bought in Delhi. And eventually he drove us to Hardwar and he slept there, I think, for a week. He slept, he stayed with us for a week before we came back. And I told Isaac, you see, we came here not knowing anyone, but God showed up through all the people that we met, and we have really had a wonderful time. And so I'm not afraid to go to areas that I've never been before because I know that when I get there, I'll meet God. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. See, when you begin to remember God all the time, we say, when you remember God, God remembers you. When you remember God, He shows up. He shows you that, here am I. Like the time was CSA, we had a restaurant and the food we were serving was very, very good. We were having clients and they liked our bread. We had the best brown bread in town, no kidding. And we decided to sell, package and sell semolina because the place we were buying our this thing, our flour from for the brown bread, you know, it was called CL4. I think cereal level 4. And it had the eye of the wheat in it. And so I decided that I would go to Togo to buy a plastic bag sealer to help package the semolina. When I got to Aflao, and I don't know, that was the first time I traveled with my passport to Togo. When I got to Aflao, I went through Ghana customs and went to Lomé and went through customs. But as I was going through, I said customs, immigration. As I was going through immigration, the man asked me, "Do you know anyone in Lomé?" I said, "No, I don't know anyone in Lomé." And I said, "Hmm." Then he gave me the passport. I went to Lomé. I was not even 1 hour in Lomé. As I left the immigration office, I saw my nephew and I told him to wait for me. I was just going to pick the plastic bag sealer and return for us to go back to Accra. I came back, I bought a plastic bag sealer because I knew the shop it was in. Brought the plastic bag sealer, went back to immigration, and the person who saw me said, "Oh, uh, someone in town wants to see you." I said, "I don't know anyone in town." So he said, "Well, I don't know, they had their system." Before I could say Jack, I saw two soldiers alighting from a taxi. They walked up and they stood behind me. And he spoke to them. The soldiers came to my side. They said, "Let's go." I said, "Well," they said, "We are taking you somewhere." I couldn't see my nephew to tell him, "Some have been arrested." I didn't know I was arrested then. No. Then I went and sat in a taxi. When we got to uh, the place where they were taking me, they called the place Surete. They said something to their fellow soldiers and they started rejoicing. Then one of the soldiers said I should remove my clothes. I said, "For where?" Then he cocked his gun. I don't know how I jumped out of my trousers and shirt. And I took off my clothes. They put me in a cell. And I was in the first cell. There were several cells going in. But my cell could see the outside of the area. And then some of the cell mates started telling me, "Look, this place that you have come, nobody is coming to get you out. It is the soldiers themselves who will either get you out or kill you." I said, "For where?" Then I was there, they brought a certain gentleman, they are beating him, and he had a deep cut in his head. Then when he came in, he saw me, he was smelling of drink. He said, "Are you at all? What brought you here?" I said, "What brought me? I came to buy this." He said, "If you know the kind of trouble you are in, you will advise yourself." And so, with the warnings that the people have given me, the cellmates have given me, and this new man coming in to say so, I was in the cell with him alone. And then, after some time, they came and took him out. And so, I decided to sleep. I slept and woke up when the whole place was quiet. And I sat in meditation. I said, "Lord, you know the truth that I have not committed any sin. I've not committed anything against the people. And since you are everywhere present, the truth that I know in myself that I have not committed any crime, let this truth be known in the minds of those who are here, because I know you are everywhere present." And I sat in meditation. Now then, suddenly I heard a voice inside me. Do not worry. The same, you go out the same way you came in here. And then I got out of meditation. So immediately I got out of meditation. One of the soldiers came. He had a staff, a staff on the prison bars, the cell bars. And he said, "Will you try to run if I open this door?" I said, "No." He said, "Don't try to run. There's something strange about you. Uh, I would like to talk to you." I said, "I won't run." He said, "If you try to run, I'll shoot you." I said, "I'm not going to run." And he had a chair by his table. I went and sat down, and it was as if I was having a history class. He wrote down my life in school. I went here, there, there, everything. I gave him my history from, as I remembered, from the time I was born to the time I was sitting in front of you. And he said, "Okay, there is something about you. I will talk to my boss when he comes in tomorrow morning." I said, "Okay." And then he said to me, "Oh, You can go over there. There's a tap there. You can wash yourself. I said, I don't belong here. So I don't want to take a shower or bath to feel comfortable here. I don't want to feel comfortable here. And he said, okay. So I went, I washed my face, I washed my mouth, and I went back and sat in the cell. The next day, the boss came and he took my passport. He went to town. And before then, the previous day, they took me, I was in some chains and they chained my legs and my hands. And I had two other people who were chained with me and they took us upstairs to go and sit. Uh, and some people will come and stand by the window, look at us and go. Several people came to look at us and left. And after some time, I went into the big man's room. He asked me the same question about 200 times. And my answers were the same. So he went to town in the morning. He came back getting to 12 in the afternoon, about 11:30. And he brought my passport. Then I was there and they came and told me that the big man wanted to see me. And I went, they changed me again. I sat down, and then they came and removed the cuffs and told me to go into his office. When I entered the office, two women were sitting on the side. They shook their head like this. And then he dropped my passport on his desk. Bam! He said, pick your passport and go. And I said, sir, what is the problem? What? He said, look here, look outside. I looked outside through his window. He said, you see the soldier standing there? There was a stick. He said, if one of these women had said, yes, I was sending you down to be shot. You are not the person we are looking for, so get out of here. Just like I jumped out of my trousers. I left the place like a scared rabbit. I went outside. Now, you see, the money I paid, the taxi which brought me, was the last money I had on me. And now I did not know how to get to the border. So I had to ask. And my friend teacher died a long time ago. I couldn't speak a word too. So I told people I'm going to border. And then they told me. I walked. I really walked. And when I got to the border, there was a Ghanaian I knew, he used to drive past my mom's shop and, he would wave at me and this thing. He knew me. I went to his shop. He had then, Rollins was looking for him. So he had run away to Togo and opened a shop. So I saw him. I went to his shop. I said, brother, this is what has happened to me. I came to buy this thing. He told me, oh, get away. If you have gone to wrong Rollins and he's chasing you, come and speak the truth. Don't come and try to take money from me. I said, oh, I wanted you to give me transport to Accra. When I get to Accra, I can send it back to you. You are insulting me. Say, I'm insulting you because you Ghanaians, you don't speak the truth. I looked at him and I left. When I crossed the border into Accra, into Aflao, I went to the car park and started talking to the drivers. One driver, I told him the story. He looked at me and then the first thing he asked me, have you eaten? I said no. He took me to a chop bar, bought me food. But by then I lost appetite for food. I couldn't eat the food. He said, you come in the car. I told him he should bring me to Accra, and when he brings me to Accra, I'll pay for all the passengers. So when we got to Accra, he took me straight to my house. We were parked outside. When we parked outside, I saw my mom, my sister, and I recognized, you remember Mr. Konaki? Yeah, a friend of mine who used to live in Lome. I saw them standing there. And when I got out of the car, my mom and sister started crying. I told them what had happened, and my friend said to me privately, not in front of them, he said, I knew I was going to go to bring your body to Accra because your nephew came and told us he saw you in Togo. He waited for you, so he got the last uh, vehicle to Accra. And he came and told my parents that he saw me in Togo, but I had not returned. And when I told them the story, they started crying the more. I said, but I was gone, I'm back now, so you don't need to cry. See, that showed me that God will never forsake nor leave us. And even if you are taken into the valley of the shadow of death, do not fear, because He will show up and rescue you. And so, when you hear love people, serve people, remember God always, you must know that you must behold the presence of God in everyone you meet and serve the presence of God in them. And remember the presence of God anytime, wherever you are, for God will show up. And when He shows up, everything will be done accordingly. Namaste.